through quickly and leaving fast. That's the good part.
Exit.
All right, John Belaris, thank you. Well, married couples often act a lot alike, right? But new research says this isn't something that happens the longer they're together. It found we're actually picking people with similar personalities from the very beginning. Do you buy it? Dr. Patrick Markey from Villanova University is the associate editor of the Journal of Personality. Thanks for coming in tonight. And I want to get your take here. Do you think the study's right?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly consistent with past research. So past research has found that we are like our spouses, at least more than a random stranger. The question always was, is that because we're attracted to people like ourselves, or is it because over time we become more like our spouses?
What about the whole opposites attract thing?
Well, it's not true.
And
actually,
not true.
no, it's not true at all. That we like to think that, but
Yeah.
the vast majority of individuals, if we ask them who their ideal romantic partner is, it's somebody that's almost exactly like them in terms of almost every trait, characteristic.
Goodness sakes, you'd think we'd want to do exactly opposite to what we are, like who wants to marry themselves, so to speak. But there was one personality trait that was an exception. What is that and why?
Well, that was, in this study, they found that aggression, that basically couples or people in relationships do become more similar to themselves, to each other in terms of aggression. And it makes sense. Basically what they're finding is that individuals, if one person tends to act violent, the other person's probably going to act violent in response. And it kind of has a scary potential result that what it might mean is in the long run, if you're in a relationship with a person who's aggressive, you're going to act aggressive back, which might encourage them to be even more aggressive. You might have this kind of cycle. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and then does the cycle continue? What about the traits that might be passed on to the kids, something like that?
Well, certainly, I mean, a big chunk of our personality is inherited through our genes. And so if we're attracted to people like ourselves, so there's a good chance that if you're an extrovert, your kid's going to be an extrovert because they get your genes, and also your spouse's genes, who is also probably an extrovert.
Oh, that makes sense. Interesting. All right, now you did some research about what people actually look for in a mate. What did you find?
Yeah, well, research with me and my wife, Charlotte, again from Rutgers, and we found the same thing, that basically we're attracted to people very similar to ourselves. But what we found was that similarity is not necessarily important for a loving and harmonious relationship. In fact, it is this dissimilarity that's ideal. So while we might want somebody just like ourselves, people who are dissimilar in terms of particularly the trait of dominance tend to be very happy. In fact, the couples that came into our lab where one was dominant and one was the submissive person tended to be much more happy than couples who were matched on that dimension.
So folks that are watching this are thinking, that either does apply to me or doesn't. I mean, what should they take away from this, or what should they do with it, if anything?
Well, I mean, one of the potential takeaways is be careful what you wish for. That while we might want somebody who's exactly like ourselves in terms of all these dimensions, the relationship that's going to be the most loving and harmonious years later might actually be containing people who are opposite, at least in terms of dominance.
So you said it, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. All right, Patrick Markey, I want you to stick around because we want to ask your opinion on another topic. Thomas?
Well, it's not school kids flocking to the Silly Band's website. Oh no, adults are going there to snatch up the latest fad. And now those bracelets are showing up in bars and clubs, according to the New York Daily News. Grown-ups looking to hook up are using them to get the conversation started. The article quotes women who say handing them out is an easy way to hit on men without being too aggressive. What do you make of that, Patrick?
It helps you hook up.
I had no idea that silly bands are this sexy. I mean, my son and daughter have armfuls of them. If I wasn't married, I would be going to bars with all my silly bands.
Well, you know what happens with me? I don't know about the it helps you hook up thing, but you know, my son will give me one to put on, and I'll forget, and I'll see my wrist on the news, and I'm like, uh-oh, it's still
the silly bands. But it is a good way to get the conversation going, because dating can be awkward, approaching someone can be a little awkward.
I suppose. I've been married for 9 years, so I kind of forgot about what dating's like, but it certainly could be an icebreaker for some people.
You need a date night, my friend. Plan on that right away. Patrick, good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me.